Hello, we have two breaking stories to get to right now. The first story being that coming from London regarding crimes committed by U.S. officials in London, and this was a letter to the Senate Homeland Committee. I'm going to read the letter now. Greetings, senators and members of the Homeland Committee. I am writing this to address you at the request of the NUSA delegation in reference to misconduct that occurred within our borders. Although the actions of American delegates were indeed misconduct, the misconduct did not affect our perception of the United States, our relations with the United States, or the agreements ratified with the United States. Both of the delegates have issued private apologies to me, and although the delegates engaged in heinous actions, ultimately they had good intentions to enjoy the game, which in turn made it more fulfilling for our law enforcement officers. Although all the United Kingdom did in response was to suspend their diplomatic immunity, shouldn't warrant legal ramifications, but instead we recommend a minor offense like a warning from the office of the president, or at the maximum of suspension. The two other delegates, excluding the two who had their herd immunity suspended, will be granted immunity, and these two delegates will receive their immunity back for the remains of the diplomatic conventions and official business. Signed, Gergug, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. That is our first story of the day. There's our first story of the day right here. It's our first story of the day right there. That is not what is not. So we have another story coming from the White House today. Chief of Staff White House Chief of Staff Tom Foley has resigned. And that's a video for later. Sorry about that. That is a video. There's a video for later. I apologize. So what is happening is White House Chief of Staff Tom Foley has resigned because he said he had too much of a busy life. The White House says there will not be any. The White House says they will not do anything, quote, major until there is a new White House Chief of Staff. The President has not chose a new White House Chief of Staff. In other news, we have more breaking news. Casey Montague has infiltrated the White House press. Montague has been has snuck a question in the White House press course.
But I will say that I think that the D.C. reporters, White House reporters, they do care about getting invited to those cool parties. They do care about what their spouses think about being ostracized if they ask the wrong questions. And so they're not the best people. Let's get local reporters, or let's get the Federalists, or as I suggested, the Babylon Bee.
Carly, quickly, when you look at this story, do you think that it should spur more people to take up the practice of journalism if it's so easy to try to get to slide a question in there for Jen Psaki?
Ben, I mean, we see so eye to eye on this one. I love this person's whole mentality. He or she was like, okay, so there were a lot of questions that me and my friends have, and we're not getting answers, so I decided to do the legwork and ask these questions myself. I think that is, I think it's very telling, like you're saying, that a lot of times the media sort of hones in on issues that the American people don't really care about. Like, how many questions about the filibuster were asked to President Biden during his press briefing? I mean, that's an important topic, but Americans really care about kitchen table issues. So, you know, I sort of agree with Rachel, too. Sometimes you got to leave it to the journalists who are hyper-focused on a local level to ask those really tough questions as well. And a lot of their questions will be not as partisan. But I think that this person is really funny. More power to them. And a lot of the questions that they did ask about, you know, COVID-19 travel protocols and President Biden's relationship with former President Obama were really good, solid questions. So more power to this person.
Yes, I like seeing people take up the business of journalism for themselves if they feel like the folks who are professionals are not doing it.
She's been praised on Fox News. That was one of the very few times I've agreed with Fox. Those were one of the first few times I've agreed with Fox, actually. Yeah, that was one of the first times I agreed with Fox. She was also on many news outlets. Now news outlets are slowly picking it up. She was on Politico recently. In a few days, we will do a special on this event and go over the entirety. We're gonna try to get in contact with Casey, but we're just gonna have to wait and see if we can. But either way, we're doing a special on this. Oh, sorry, I was holding something there. Anyways, we're gonna go on break, and when we come back, John of Doom will have a story all about the Senate elections and the new election schedule.
Every time that I'm down, I rise up. Every time they hate, go harder. Every time I fall, get smarter. Every time I get it. Every time I get it. Every time that I'm down, I rise up. Every time they hate, go harder. Every time I fall, get smarter. Every time I get it. Every time I get it. Whoa. Opposition can't touch me at all. I'm rising up every day and I never will fall. What you do, I see it all through a crystal ball.
And we're back, It is 7:14. It is 7:14 Eastern Time, and we have to go over the new election schedule and the Senate Class 2 election results. Here is FTN News correspondent and President John of Doom. John?
Thank you. Can everyone hear me all right? I'm going to assume you can. Right. So, if I can actually get this working. Okay. Okay, yeah, we have everything ready. Alright, so Senate elections recently just concluded, and the results are as follows. Senate Class 2 elections were the first elections that were kind of downsized as part of a new downsizing effort. Each Senate class will now contain only 4 seats going forward. Winners are Niruta, Run 5, Vowels, and Michael 936. 146 votes were cast, including bad votes. Present values do not include bad votes. In the meantime, the FEC is announcing the schedule for April and May. The House Class 2 elections will open on April 27th at 6 p.m. Eastern. It will close the next day at the same time. April 29th is when House Class 2 voting begins at 12 a.m. Eastern. It will close the next day at 12 a.m. Eastern. Results will be released on May 1st. As for House Class 2 election. Senate Class 3, May 7th at 6 p.m. is when things open. On May 7th and May 8th at 6 p.m. is when it closes. Voting opens on May 9th at 12 a.m. and closes on May 10th. May 11th is when results release and the term takes effect. Now for some municipal election news. May 19th is D.C. City Council elections. That's when registration will open at 6 p.m., close the next day at 6 p.m. May 21st is when voting opens, closes the next day at 12 a.m., also opens at 12 a.m. as well. May 23rd is when results are released. At the same time, though, mayoral elections are taking effect when voting closes. Registration will open on May 22nd at 6 p.m. and close May 23rd at 6 p.m. May 24th at 12 a.m. is when voting opens and closes on May 25th at 12 a.m. May 26th is when results release and the transition period begins. House Class 1 elections take place shortly thereafter on May 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern and close on May 29th. May 30th is when voting opens and closes the next day at 12 a.m. June 1st is when results are released and the term takes effect. So basically a month with new elections coming up as well. And this is sort of also related to the FEC. They've also released a schedule for Ridgeway's elections. They are now opening registration for county sheriff and county district attorney. It is already open and will close on April 14th at 11:59. Voting opens on the 16th at 12:01 a.m. and ends on the 17th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Also going on that a special county board election is also going on. Registration and voting will happen in the county hall within Palmer on the 2nd floor. So really a busy cycle for elections both within Noosa and Ridgeway, in a way. Back to you.
Great reporting, John. Well, that is everything we have. But for now, I'm Greg Jagers 1113, and thank you.